and children of all ages, welcome to the 45th episode of Film Banter, the bantering of film, the appreciation of cinema, the dark cloud that we sit in upon every week after week. For you humble souls out there who desire the very words we speak, the criticisms that we have. That's right, we're just mindless idiots sitting in a darkened room staring at a brightened screen for what? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you now Mr. Chris Picard.
Thank you for the very warm welcome, sir.
Oh, you're very welcome. No applause this week for you. I'm terribly sorry.
That's okay. Hello, Film Banter audience. It's good to see you. We were off for a week. It's wonderful to be back for episode 45.
I know it is episode 45. I suppose I should enter into the camera mode now.
That'd be nice.
Camera range. So I should do that now.
We are officially in middle age of broadcast.
The middle age of broadcast.
45. Middle age.
Oh.
Dun-dun-dun.
I suppose that's very true. Well, here I am, ladies and gentlemen, speaking into this humble megaphone that, of course, represents the words we speak and amplifies them for no apparent reason, except so that your ears may relish them with great attitude and beseeched nonsensical wisdom. All right, very well. I suppose I should put this down.
Please do.
You're
I
very
can hear
welcome.
you just fine.
All right, very good.
Well, it's good to see you, my friend.
Well, it's good to see you.
Very nice.
You may notice I have a little burn on my face here.
He got hurt.
You know, could you move over here? Because, you know, I know in that screen I'm falling, but in this screen I'm not. So,
Yes.
you know, we should take care of this prior to
I did.
our particular thing. I'm going to put this back on. But here's what happened. Yeah, I was... actually, this girl I was seeing, she had some stubble on her thigh, and I was rubbing so hard that suddenly I got this burn. No, actually, the truth is, I was I've already told you this, but I'm going to tell our humble folk
They're
out
dying
there.
to hear.
They're dying to hear. I can see the numbers going into a negative reversal as the droves of hordes of the dead come to our side here. But what actually happened was I had gotten a deep dish pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I put my own cheese on it, which many of you should do, because when you get a pizza frozen from the supermarket, etc., it never has enough cheese. Let's be honest.
that's
Does
true.
it? No.
Not usually.
So you
They're
go
pretty
get those
skimpy.
little bags, those little mozzarella bags. You know, I used to
Yes.
go with a girl. She was like, a mozzarella bag. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but a home. Oh, terribly sorry. But, anyway, so what happened was, I was eating the slice of pizza.
You took
and
a very eager
piece
bite?
of cheese literally came and slapped me in the chin.
Oof.
And I swear to you, this may sound bizarre
Ugh.
and strange at the same time. However, I heard a little... I did, and it was just my flesh being scalded. And you may know that, and this is almost 12 days ago now.
Yeah, I mean,
that
look,
this
I mean,
actually happened.
considering, the picture you sent me after it happened, this is
I
a
know.
great recovery.
I know.
Yeah.
But still, 12 days, burns should go away. And I've been covering it in, Bacitracin Plus,
Yeah, yeah.
all kinds of this clear, gunky crap that you go get at your local
Yeah. Vitamin E or
pharmacy,
whatever,
etc. Yeah, vitamin E, yeah, sure. So,
Well, I'm happy to see that
so
you're
if
doing
I
okay.
ever burn my, my lower extremities, I would be sure to rub that with vitamin E also.
Please do.
Okay, well, very good. So we're going to begin our show this week.
Yeah, we have a pretty full show.
Yeah, we
a lot of
really do.
new releases,
What
actually.
episode is this, Chris?
45.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 45, the 45th. This is previous to 46 and latent to 44.
Yes.
So, yes, this is episode 45, and we appreciate your coming. We appreciate your breathing heavy, and we appreciate the ejaculation of your brains as you sit here before us and completely absorb yourself within the very essence of our bullshit.
Thank you.
That's about it, right?
I think that's good. And I want to say for our Spanish viewers,
I think
this is
that
episode 45.
There you go. There you go.
But anyway, let's begin. We're going to discuss a film that's currently in theaters.
I do want to mention one little thing,
Oh, you're going to delay the first
I
film?
am going to, just briefly, if
All right,
I
make
may.
it quick.
I just want to talk about Mr. Donald Trump, of course. This is our 45th episode. This past weekend, we had a horrible thing happen in Charlottesville. But, I have an excuse for the president, and I want you all to know what it was.
What is it?
Well, apparently, he was watching, it took him 2 to 3 days to actually respond to the hate groups of the swastika-laden Nazis. And I guess we did not see that coming. But also the white supremacists and so forth. So he didn't acknowledge the hatred groups.
Not specifically.
Because
no.
let's face it, they're his core group. Let's be honest. But, I got to defend Mr. Trump because I believe at the time he was actually watching Fox News
And so he didn't know anything about the Charlottesville massacre, and
Could be.
and because they on Fox News, the joke is, of course, they don't report the news. You see,
Yeah, we
they
understand.
just kind of hey,
All
but
right,
all
so
right,
you got that out of your system?
Got that out of my system.
All right.
Of course, people are going to see this episode in 5 years from now, and they're going to say, "What the hell's he talking about?
What is he talking
What's
about?"
he talking about?" All right, so
You're
we're gonna
assuming
start-
that there will be a planet Earth left in 5 years.
Oh God, that's a horrible thought, but you know,
I don't really
something-
believe that's the
it's
case.
something to
I think we're
consider.
going to be fine.
I think we'll be here.
No, we'll be
we may
fine.
not be alive, but I think the planet
We'll
Earth
be
will
fine.
still
I
be
really
here.
don't think it's going to go that route.
It's hard to say.
Anyway, we're going to begin currently in theaters. Miss Halle Berry, Kidnap.
Haley Berry kidnapped.
This film has been out for a couple weeks, but obviously we weren't here last week. So,
Correct.
We're covering some
We're
things.
going to cover it now.
It might be a week or two
I'd
old.
like to cover Halle Berry if I may.
I'm sure you would.
But
You want to give the brief premise?
I'll give the brief premise.
I'll let
It's very
you do the
simple.
synopsis.
It's very simple. Miss Berry is she is an estranged from her husband wife. She has the kid for the weekend. Basically, we get or her turn to have her
Yeah.
child. She goes down to
He's
her
probably,
local,
6 maybe?
goes down to the local park with other women watching their kids. Next thing you
Well,
know,
no, they're
she-
at an amusement park, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Doesn't
in a
matter.
park, whatever.
We got
And the
that.
next thing you know, she turns around for a second to take a phone call. She looks back,
Yep.
and there's somebody running off with Hallie's kid
Yeah.
into the car and driving off with her child. Every parent's nightmare.
Exactly.
So Hallie then begins it almost feels like this film is in real time.
It does feel like a real-time film.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, I never expected it to be like this.
Oh, I expected, like, lifetime melodrama.
I did too, and I expected it to be
Yeah.
kind of a. I thought there was going to be some. They were going to give us a lot of bullshit before she gets into the
No, this-
actual.
I'm telling you, within
pursuit.
less than 10 minutes, it's
Oh,
begun. Quick.
It is an absolute chase film from
It-
beginning
yeah,
to end.
it
It
doesn't
never
let
lets
go.
up.
Yeah, it never does.
I gotta say, I was gripped.
Yeah, I gotta say
it
too.
had
I was
me.
not interested in seeing this, but
I
I had an open
agree.
mind when I went to see it. I'm like, wow.
True. You know, and Hallie does she throws these movies at you. She does stuff like Cloud Atlas. She does kind of cool stuff from time
Which
to
is
time.
still an unsung
You know,
song.
she does do
unsung film.
when the house was burning down, or the house that burned, or whatever.
Oh, wasn't it what Things We Lost in the Fire?
Things we lost in the fire.
Benicio. Yeah, I still want to
There
see
you go.
that.
My
wanna
wife,
see that
who is
one.
now not with us, had seen and loved that film. But
Yeah, I have that at
but
home.
regardless, so Hallie begins this chase. But of course, we had The Call, which was
Oh, yeah,
another
yeah,
great
yeah.
film about kind of a serial
911
killer
operator,
kind of
right?
a thing. I really like this movie a lot. I have to say, it caught me in its thing. I mean, as we go into Silence of the Lambs, not serial killer, but serial kidnapping
Yeah.
territory. Gotta say, I really loved the two people that
Yeah.
were there's a guy and a woman. Now,
Yes.
if you're all familiar with Ma and Pa Kettle, there was a woman by the name of Marjorie Main, and she was a very big, overweight, really quite unattractive woman. This was back in the 30s and 40s, and Ma and Pa Kettle were very big. Marjorie Main also played a television series in the 60s called Tugboat Annie. Mm-hmm. And she was just this big old broad.
Yeah.
She'd stand there and, what are you looking at? But she had a heart of gold.
Got
was
it.
the true brilliance of Miss Marjorie Main. So, but anyway, this
Marjorie
woman...
Main?
Yeah, her name is Marjorie Main.
Okay.
And, okay, Ma, what do you think? Well, Pa. I mean, Marjorie had a deeper voice as Ma than Pa did.
Yeah.
It was really a kid.
But anyway,
There-
yes, so this
there were
woman
comedies from the 30s.
reminded you of
She
her.
reminded me of her.
Yeah.
She's just a big, ogress woman, and I applaud the filmmakers
she
for
was
taking a
very
chance
good.
on this
She's
woman.
somebody that's an up-and-comer. I looked her up, actually.
Okay.
I neglected to write her name down. I did write down the guy that played her partner in crime.
He was great.
Lou Temple.
There
So
you
if
go.
you look him up, he's got a pretty big filmography.
Themography?
Filmography.
Okay.
Filmography. He's got a lot of films that he's been done.
Okay.
He was apparently in Walking Dead, but what I knew him from,
Yeah.
once I saw him on IMDb,
To your health, ladies and gentlemen.
he was in the Denzel film Unstoppable, the last film of director Tony Scott, the one about the runaway
The
train.
Runaway Train, I didn't care for it.
I
think you liked
love
it.
that
You liked
film.
it. I know.
Yeah, and he played a guy that worked for the railroad that was assisting them from pickup truck.
Okay.
He was driving alongside. He was excellent. I thought
was
they,
excellent.
They did a wonderful job at casting these two scumbags.
Absolutely true.
They were so believable as these two southern kidnappers.
I
This film
know.
takes place in New Orleans.
I know, true.
The amount of stunt driving that was going on in this film, I mean, there's no way a regular person would be able to survive the car
Mayhem.
wrecks and
Yeah,
the mayhem
true.
and going in lanes in different directions. And I really applaud the filmmakers for really making something
me
that
too. No,
was
they
really
kept,
engaging.
They kept the level
Yeah.
of tension at a. You know, most films they kind of keep it down here, and then
they go up and
escalate
down, up and
build.
down.
This film was up here
whole time.
the whole
Yeah.
time, and I got to hand it to Miss Halle Berry.
She
also.
did a great job.
She was dynamite when
She was.
she's running after them. My Frankie, we haven't heard the word Frankie yelled so much
I know.
since Sinatra. Was banging cheerleaders two at a
Could be.
time back in the Godfather days.
And this was one of the most intense films I've seen in a while, and I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Me too.
It reminded me a lot, in many ways, of Breakdown, one of my favorite Kurt Russell films from '97. I love Breakdown. Check it
me
out if
too.
you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And this reminded me of that in many ways. And
that
you know,
was who played his wife in that?
well, that was it.
She was in The Doors also.
Yeah, she was. That was Kathleen Quinlan.
Correct. Very
And
good.
J.T. Walsh was the villain.
There you go.
But this film,
Yeah, he died shortly thereafter.
he did. He died. Late '98,
Yeah, he
'97.
was a younger guy when he passed away.
He was the heart attack. He was a big smoker. But
there
anyway,
you go.
I always liked him. Great character actor.
I worry
But this-
about David Lynch because he smokes
I know,
way
he
too
does.
much. It really upsets
Yeah,
me
I
too.
know.
I don't want to lose David.
I know, but this is one of those films where you're angry watching it because you're like, these people are just so brazen in their
I know.
their ability to kidnap these kids, and I just applaud it. I really enjoyed this film.
I did too.
It's a solid 3.5-star film.
Solid thriller for
Yeah,
me.
it really is a solid
You know,
thriller.
if you do
go check this one
if
out.
you go on IMDb and you do check out some of the reviews, the
Yeah.
reviews are unkind for this film,
I
and
know.
rightly so.
Because it's very, it's kind of,
it's a B movie.
It
and
is,
I think
B
the
film.
Fact, I think the fact that Halle Berry is in it, that they're kind of thinking, oh well, this is going to be an A movie, but no, Halle has the guts.
It's a
the
genre
balls.
film.
She did. And I love the fact that,
Yeah.
that she, like Charlize Theron now, is making entertainment
I
films
agree.
for the people. They're not just going for these Academy Award performances. They're making movies that
Yeah,
people
exactly.
actually are entertained
This
by.
is why people go to the movies.
Exactly.
They don't always go
I
for
wanna
those
be-
merchant
I wanna
ivory
have my
stuff.
testicle squeezed the whole time I'm watching the film.
I know.
I want to be sitting there.
I was
want
tense.
I want to be gagging on my bonbons
Yeah.
because I'm in such tense mode.
Exactly.
I mean, the true movie watcher is usually sitting like this.
Yeah, I agree.
He's sitting forward
All the-
because
all the time I'm like
he
that.
wants to take everything in, and that's how
Yeah.
I felt with this movie. I
I
loved
agree.
it. It was
Yeah,
great
two
stuff.
big yeses,
Two
definitely.
big yeses, right to the very
I
end.
agree.
mean, my God, I was shitting bricks
Yeah,
towards
it
the
doesn't
end there.
let go.
I went, holy God.
Yeah.
I tell you, I love this film.
It's a great film.
I really did. I loved it. It was so good.
A very great film.
We're gonna
Moving
move on here. Okay.
Number 2, I guess I'll do the synopsis in this
How
one.
to be a
Latin
Latin
Lover,
lover.
a
There you
comedy.
go.
How to be a Latin Lover.
It is.
Starring the international Mexican superstar. Go ahead.
Now, what's his name?
Oh, Eugenio Derbez.
Eugenio Derbez. That's right. How to be a Latin lover.
Yeah, and he's very charming in this film.
He is.
I'll be honest, this is the first thing I think I've seen him in. I know he's familiar to
No,
me.
I've seen him I did see him in another film probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He did a film where he played an up-and-coming, he was in a department store.
Oh, okay.
And he was like the security guard, and he was great.
Okay, I'll
he
check
was
it out.
very, very good
Now,
in that.
it seems to me that he's mostly a comedic actor. Is that true?
True.
Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah, he's very
He's
good.
very popular in
very
that
good.
mode, yeah.
There are times where he reminded me of, not an appearance, but the way he moved. His movement style in this film reminded me a little bit of Michael Richards as Kramer in Seinfeld. There were elements
Really?
of, the physicality of the way he, like in the sequence where
I didn't
he's
get
showing
that at
his
all, but-
nephew how to strut. There's something about it reminded me of those scenes in Seinfeld when Kramer is
Okay.
walking down the street.
All right.
Anyway, How to Be a Latin Lover. The premise is, as a young child, he's living in Mexico. He has a sister and his mother. The father dies, and he wants to grow up. He sees his father worked hard his whole life and never really worked much. It never really had time for the family. So he says, I don't want to work. I want to be like, he shows a picture in a magazine of basically a gold digger woman.
Yeah.
For an old rich guy. He goes, I want to be like her. So he decides he wants to marry a rich woman. The movie automatically jumps to 25 years later,
Right.
where he's been in this relationship, this marriage with this rich woman, and she suddenly dumps him, and now he's got to find his way.
He's a gigolo.
He's a gigolo,
Let's
is what he
face
is.
it, he's
no,
a gigolo
he is, but
all the
he's
way.
not like from person to person.
Well,
he's stuck
no,
with one woman
He stays with
for
one.
25 years.
He latches onto one rich
He
woman.
does. Yeah, he's a
And,
gigolo. To
she-
break it down to a term, yes.
That woman also who does, I like her very much. She played Fran Drescher's mother in The Nanny.
The Nanny, yeah, she's very good.
And she's very good. And her, I mean, this woman, I gotta hand it to her for, I mean, they make her look so,
Yeah.
she looks like a basset hound.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't write down her
bull.
name, and I should have.
It's not important, but...
I wrote down everybody else's name.
But there is a gigolo aspect to this film, and he kind of begins relating to other gigolos, etc.
Well, he's got a very good friend gigolo in this film, played by
Right.
Rob Lowe, who's very good in this.
Yeah,
I
I thought Rob was good.
He's
There were a
equally
couple
as
little
conniving
cameos.
as him. Yeah.
Got to mention his sister's played by Selma
Salma Hayek is a
the
big part. It's
wonderful
his
Selma.
sister, who he goes to live with,
Yeah.
and then he gets to know his
after
nephew.
he's ousted by the first
After he's ousted by the
woman.
first
so,
wife,
So
yes.
the film is basically him trying to get back to himself.
Yes.
He's been
Trying to
kind
find
of
another wife.
pampered. He's been pampered with rich cars and money and so forth
Exactly.
by these older women. So now he needs to find a new one, and at the
Yes.
same time, he's now learning how to live as a
regular person,
with his
yeah.
sister, and
Yeah.
she's got a son, and
She's
so yeah. So we
He's
have
very
all
good.
this-
He's played by a young kid named Rafael
He is
Alejandro.
good.
He's
Got
very
the-
good.
Got the big wide.
he's very
big-
cute
got
little
the
kid.
big horn rim glasses. He
Um,
looks like a junior Buddy Holly out there.
And then he meets another prominent character at a yogurt shop. He meets Kristen Bell, who he befriends.
Correct.
And I love the.
I think you're going into too much about this, but did
no,
you like
no,
the
I'm just
film?
saying she's a supporting
She
character.
is. That's true. Did you like the film?
You know, I had no interest in seeing it.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? Now that it's on demand or whatever, I'll watch it. You know, I found myself really enjoying it and getting into it. I didn't think it was anything amazing.
Yeah.
But for a comedy, you know, I laughed a good amount of times,
Did you?
I'd say. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd say I probably laughed out loud at least 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
The joke to me that was the funniest was that scene when he's at the he's trying to get into that rich woman's house for the charity event because he wants to get close to Raquel Welch.
Right.
And he puts on
Raquel looked great.
she
in
looked
this
great.
Movie.
And
Whoa.
he was saying to himself, "Oh my God, I look so old." So he cakes the shoe polish and
Yeah.
he covers up his white hair.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then he jumps into this pool. And then it all comes off,
Right.
and it looks like diarrhea. And
Yeah,
some of the
yeah.
guests are like, "Is that shit?" I thought that was really funny.
Right. It was. It had some
There's
very
a
funny
handful
moments.
of laughs.
I agree.
In a film that is, you know, at
2
best,
hours long.
it's a little long.
It's
yes.
way too long for
It's
my
way
blood.
too long, but it's, you know, I'd say it's a solid B minus.
I'd go a C for me. It was a C. I liked him. I liked
See,
the
I laughed
characters.
more than I usually do in
Okay.
these kind of movies, so
That's fair
I'm giving it
enough.
a little higher rating.
Okay.
I'm giving it a yes for on video only. I would not tell somebody to go spend a,
No.
you know.
It was in
a
theaters,
ton.
actually.
It
You know,
was,
this
yeah.
is a movie
So I
that
wouldn't have
didn't make it
recommended.
to theaters,
I
though.
would not have recommended somebody to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
But I'd say at home on Redbox, definitely worth a Redbox for a
It
buck.
probably was a good theater view also.
Could be, but I wouldn't have wanted to pay full price.
It was
on
like half English, half Spanish subtitles.
Yeah, there's a lot of Spanish
A lot of
subtitles.
Spanish
Yeah.
subtitles. I got to say, for me, it was a little bit more. I'm gonna give it a borderline no. I have to say.
Okay.
I found it entertaining to some
Yeah.
extent, but it was just so cliche ridden.
Very cliche.
The kid, then the kid hates him.
I
and
know.
then
Well, it's
the
very
kid loves him,
formulaic.
yeah.
It's very formulaic. Very formulaic.
They took the formula, wrote it down on a blackboard, and said, "Let's follow this."
It's paint by numbers.
It's
a comedy.
paint by
I know
numbers,
that. But
so-
with comedy, you rate these
characters.
movies mostly on the characters and the
characters.
comedy essence.
True.
And so for me,
Okay.
being somebody who was not interested in seeing it, was expecting nothing good, nothing that I really wanted to see, I came away with, well, you know what? I enjoyed it a little bit more. Is kind of what I was
Yeah, I
saying to
gotcha.
myself. So I'm giving it a recommendation. Based on, I laughed a bunch of times.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm gonna go against grain. I'm going to change my recommendation because I was entertained by the
Yeah, it
film
did
to
its
some
job.
extent. Went a little too long for me. It was,
No,
it
they
was a good
they
half
could
hour.
have chopped a half hour.
This was an hour
I
and a
agree,
half
100%.
movie at tops.
Yeah.
Just went way too long.
It didn't need to
because
be an hour and 55 minutes.
It was Spanish made. Apparently, whatever his name is, he's a big star.
He's a producer.
They gave
But he's
him
an American director.
He's in every. Oh, is it?
Oh yeah,
I did not realize.
American
that.
director.
Well, there you go.
American writers too, I think.
Okay, I don't think so.
I looked up. I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
it was
it
all
is.
Spanish folk. In fact, everybody in the
I don't think
film.
so.
But that's regardless. I just as a film for me, it kind of worked, but
I love the subplot with those two guys that he gets. He needs some money.
Yeah.
So he gets some fast
Oh,
cash.
and they're
by
after him all
those
the time.
companies that
Yeah.
you put all these logos for companies on your car for a month.
Yeah.
And you get paid to advertise. So he does that for a day, but then
Right.
takes it off, and then they're chasing him for the money the whole time. Those two guys were really funny.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and they're good. I want to mention it. They're funny. It was Rob there's two Robs, Rob Riggle and Rob Hubel, and I've seen them in a ton of stuff.
Of course,
they're very funny.
Yeah, they are funny.
So yeah,
It was okay. It was okay.
Better than I expected.
Yeah, it was. I don't. It's exactly what I expected.
Okay.
But it was because of the way it was made. It just had a friendliness.
It did
There
have a
was
friendliness.
Very likability
Yes,
factor
I
about
agree.
this film. It was just fun, and Selma kind of played her beauty
She was
down
good.
in
Yeah,
this.
no, she was good.
didn't make herself look like she's a.
Except that one scene where she goes
very
to dinner on the date.
Well, true. Yeah, she's a.
But
gorgeous
she's
woman.
aging
Yeah.
remarkably. She
No,
was
she's
wonderful.
she's married to a billionaire right now. So,
heard that, yeah.
Anyway, regardless. But
And I liked how the
I'm
ending
sure
had
he
a lot of
keeps her
bloopers.
looking
That was
good.
always fun.
Yeah, that is
That was
fun.
fun. I always loved that.
I loved it when she and him were laying on the couch just
Getting
laughing
drunk?
their asses. Like, yeah, it was just.
Oh, I see. That scene
That
was
was
great.
funny.
Yeah,
That was funny.
fun. So it's
you couldn't help
entertaining.
but laugh. It was good.
All right, so
let's move on.
we'll do a film that you only saw.
That's right. It is a
Film of the Annabelle series.
kind of the James Wang man. I believe is it James
Wang,
Wang? James
Wang.
Wang.
There's no G.
I'm sure he has a Wang. And,
I hope so.
And of course, when he wangs it, it Wang. But regardless, this is just another. It's a bigger budget film than
I'm
the
sure.
original.
Well, the first one was a
Annabelle.
hit, right?
Well, the first one was kind of like a throwaway. That was kind of like a shoot off of the Insidious series,
Yes.
starring Patrick Wilson and
Rose Byrne.
Rose Byrne, of course, and that was very good. And then they have the Conjuring series also, which is the best James Wang series, hands down. Conjuring 2 is one of the best horror films I've seen in a long time,
Okay.
and just frightening. And there's a witch/nun in the Conjuring 2 film that now is going to have her own film shortly.
Of course.
And why not, damn it? Ain't got none, can't get none, don't want none. That's right. But I gotta say, Annabelle the Creation, it had its chills. I like the fact that it pulled back on the horror. It wasn't always in your face. It didn't go for all the dramatic effects. I'm a horror buff. I'm an aficionado. I love horror. I'm just tired of the tricks.
I
The
know what
music
you're
going,
saying.
okay, and then
Fake
somebody
scares,
and then
you know?
we always have the scene where somebody's standing there, and then behind them you see this figure run
I
by.
know.
We didn't go for the tricks in this movie. I really like that, and yet at the same time, it was almost a 2-hour film. It was right up in that ballpark. It was a little bit too long for me. It involves a group of girls. Well, first of all. This is the creation. This is the insemination, if you will.
So it's about a doll, right?
It's a doll. It's a puppet,
Got
basically,
it.
and it has the pigtails, and it's a creepy-looking
Yeah.
clown-type face. Anthony LaPaglia is the father in this film.
Okay.
The mother is a famous actress. I've seen her in a dozen things. You can look her up later on. It's not necessary you look her up right now.
Well, I'm kinda curious.
But anyway, their daughter dies in a horrible car accident, who they love and adore. And he's a doll maker at the same time, Anthony. Anthony's very good in this movie. He's very understated.
Anthony LaPaglia, yeah, he's good.
I saw him. I remember when he was on Will and Grace, and
Yeah.
he played, I believe, was it Will and Grace or was it Frasier? No, I
You
think
know,
it
he's
was.
Australian. Did you know that? Anthony LaPaglia.
It doesn't surprise me.
Pardon
It
me.
doesn't surprise me. But anyway,
Oh yeah, the mother's Miranda Otto.
yeah, she's
She
been
was
a
in Lord of the
zillion-
Rings.
Was she?
Yeah, she was.
All right.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
probably Australian herself.
Yeah, she is.
There you go.
She is. And James Wan is Australian.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Is he? I thought he was Chinese.
No,
Human
I'm pretty,
being.
yeah, but you have a lot of Asians in
Well,
Australia.
I apologize for that thoughtless
a
slur.
huge population.
Thinking
of-
that Chinese
of
people do not
Asians.
exist in Australia, but all right, I suppose they.
Because Saw was
I
Australian.
suppose they throw tempura shrimp on the barbie.
I stand corrected. I'm sorry. He's from Malaysia. I apologize.
There you go.
I thought he was Australian.
That's right, tempura shrimp on the barbie, if you will. Hello. There we go.
Can
Little-
you tempura your review with less comedy, please?
Well, there you go, if you'd like. But anyway, this movie is a little bit on the chilling side. So what happens is, I'm just going to give a very brief,
Okay.
in
The bullet points.
interrent of this film. Their daughter is killed early on. We go, of course, to that 12-year later mark. That just seems
Of
to be a
course.
popular thing these days to, immediately jump forward.
Yeah.
Nobody has aged, of course. Everyone looks identical
Of
to the
course.
way they looked. Except in certain films, I have to say. But regardless, so they now decide to turn their home. They're kind of out in the middle of nowhere in like a desert scenario, like in a New Mexico or Arizona or whatever. So they decide to have a group of girls come in. These are like homeless girls. They're all in a adoptive mode. They've been in an orphanage all their lives, and they're brought into this place to. These people have now kindly, because they lost their daughter, they're putting out their home for wayward girls, wayward children, etc. So we have the kind of sexy older girls. We have a couple of younger girls, and we have one girl who's brilliantly played by a young actress, and she's a cripple in the film. She's using a leg brace and so forth.
Yeah.
She's kind of she's the whole essence of the film, because of course the spirit of Annabelle, who was actually the dead daughter of this family, this couple played by Anthony and his wife. The film is immaculately filmed, however. It's just so brilliantly realized, and there's just great, I love the art direction. I like we always have that something inside the closet thing going on, of course, and of course when they open the closet, now the puppet's back over behind them because apparently it walked. It's coming out with a sheet over its head. I mean, come on! But, I gotta say, I like the film. However, I very often these days when I go to see a film, I look at it for the second viewing. I'm a movie buff. I like watching
Will
movies
it merit another viewing?
And I don't believe
Not
this
on this
film
one.
does. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, because it's like a lot of times, just like with comedy and horror, it's, a lot of it is the prepaid value. When the laugh, you already know the laugh is coming, or when you know the scare is coming.
True.
It takes a lot out of the viewing.
Right.
So therefore,
Yeah.
a second viewing, it takes a very special film in those genres to merit another viewing.
Well, certain people might enjoy this film again because
Yeah.
it has great characters in it. The girls are all very well fleshed out and played, and it's just got a very good horror-esque feel to it through the whole thing. There's comedy. They don't just rely on the horror aspect where nobody has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
People are real people in this film. It's very well written. So for that reason, I give it a thumbs up. I like the film. It was horrifying. There are moments there that I really had genuine chills watching this film. And I do believe, once again, as with Dark Tower that we're going to review, I saw this just with me, myself, and I.
Wow, okay.
So, you're ready to, you're always, whenever I'm sitting in a theater by myself, I'm always ready to, emulate a Pee Wee Herman scene just because I can.
I always
But then
enjoy a private
you can't
screening.
do that because they've got cameras behind the screen and they're watching you infrared. They can see everything. That's how poor little Pee Wee got caught down in that Florida.
He got caught with his Pee Wee.
He got caught with his Pee Wee, all right. But babe. But I'm going to give a thumbs up. I'm going to give a wooden puppetized thumb up for this film. I'm sure if you get to see the actual puppet itself, she's got the pigtails.
I've seen
pictures. Rosy cheeks with the freckles.
Yeah.
She looks like Howdy Doody with long braids. The end result of the film is what you go away with.
Mm-hmm.
Was I scared? Yes, I was scared. Was certain films just take a certain turns from time to time that you are happy with or you're not. That's how movies are made, and you walk out of the theater saying to yourself, boy, that was great.
Yeah.
In terms of Halle Berry, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
We walk out of the theater going, Jesus, boy, it nailed me.
That was one of those movies that was such a surprise.
True.
It
held me. When a film holds you every moment of the film, God, that's why we go to movies. That's why we sit there in that theater. That's why we do what we do. That's why him and I sit here and do this show every week. Because we really love the experience. And I got to say, for this particular film, the experience kind of waned a little bit in a James waning way. Ha, ha, ha.
Very nice.
But thank you so much. But I'm giving it a thumbs up. But if you're a big horror fan, go see it. But once again, a 2-hour flick, which could have been easily trimmed to an hour and a half.
I agree.
Throw in some extra stuff not necessary. We're now going to move on to a wonderful city over in
Michigan.
Michigan there.
And there's a city there called Detroit.
There you go, Miss
Detroit
Catherine Bigelow
Rock
at the helm.
City.
And we're talking about
Detroit. So Detroit. I went to see Detroit, like we said, like you said, directed by Catherine Bigelow, the wonderful female filmmaker who did Zero Dark 30, The Hurt Locker, Near Dark,
I
Point
love Zero
Break.
Dark 30. I really love that.
It's a good film.
My girl
I thought Jessica was
Chastain
phenomenal
is in that
in it.
film.
I agree. So Detroit is another fact-based film, another film that she's done based on true events that apparently she was inspired to make after everything that happened a couple years ago in Ferguson, Missouri.
Right.
So this film is about. It was a history lesson for me because obviously it was before my time, and I we're not taught about this kind of stuff in school. So this is about the riots of, I believe, 1967 in Detroit,
But
Michigan.
it's also about the murder of 3 black men
Well,
in a
that's
hotel.
well, no, that's connected to it. I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So that's connected. The backdrop are the riots of 1967 in Detroit.
Okay.
The civil rights movement is at a fever pitch, and so only a couple short days into the riot, there is a scenario occurring at this little hotel called the Algiers Motel.
Okay.
And the motel is a traditional motel, but it has this thing that they call in the film an annex. So it's like almost like an apartment complex, but it's all hotel rooms.
Yeah.
It's in there that I think it's two black men or 3, I forget.
I believe it's 3.
Yeah, it's 3. Were murdered by police officers.
Right.
And so right away we're introduced to the main characters of the film. John Boyega of Force Awakens, and he was recently in The Circle.
Right.
He plays a young black man who has several jobs. One of is a security guard at a grocery store.
Okay.
He's on the night shift watching the grocery store the night of these shootings, which is only across the street.
Okay.
So
he's
when
kind of a privy witness.
yeah, but he unfortunately for him, he gets involved. He runs over there to see if he can help, which
So he becomes the 3rd victim.
not the victim. No. But he inserts himself into the story, and because
inserts himself.
Yes, he basically becomes an integral part of the story in some respects, and a witness, of course.
Gotcha.
So, and eventually a suspect, because the racist police, they don't necessarily want to believe that their couple officers, 3 officers, were capable of this kind of thing. So we learn right away that the 3 officers have already gotten in trouble for excessive force.
Okay.
And there's one that's kind of the main guy out of the 3, and his name is an actor named Will Porter, who is excellent in this film.
Okay.
He's a young 24-year-old guy who is British, obviously in real life. Does a great job playing this racist cop. He is chilling in this film.
Oh, really?
This film...
And he's a black man.
No, he's a white guy.
Oh,
he's
a
one
white
of the
guy.
3 white
Okay, I'm
racist
sorry.
cops. And so we meet a whole bunch of other main African American characters of different, they're singers, they're this, they're that.
The actual
that are
riots,
in there.
the riots in Detroit, is it
We
well
s-
filmed? Is this a
It's good, yeah, because
well-made movie?
It's very well made. She does a great
Okay.
job of recapturing that period.
All
It
right.
looks very authentic to me, and they also incorporate newsreel footage from the time.
Oh, good.
So that helps.
Okay.
It's
It's
and
a long
so
film.
It's
That's 2 hours and
that
17
if there
minutes.
was a complaint about this film,
That's what I've heard.
is that it's almost 2.5 hours and it feels it.
Uh-huh.
It feels it at
It
times.
does drag.
However, this is a very powerful film. I hate to use that
Okay.
word; it's so cliche.
No, it's
but
all right.
it's a film that leaves its impact.
Okay.
The middle hour, which basically focuses on the murders and almost like a hostage situation inside this hotel,
Okay.
is extremely tense.
Oh, good.
It's riveting. It's very dramatic. It's sad. It's chilling.
Really?
The film is very well acted.
Oh, okay, good.
The characters are fleshed out.
Nice.
We really get a sense for all the sides of the story.
Oh, good.
Everything is examined, and we really get to know these characters. And I found it to be an extremely effective film, and I really liked it.
Oh, good.
And I really recommend it to people. It's an important film, especially given the recent racial tension in America that
Sure,
doesn't
so.
seem to ever go away.
No.
Even with Ferguson and
It
all the
never
stuff
will.
we've been seeing.
It
No, it's never
will.
going to go away.
It's just the way we are.
So anyway, I really recommend Detroit. I thought it was very well done. Catherine Bigelow does another great job.
Yeah.
The film was also written by the same guy. I believe his name was Mark Bowl, who also wrote Zero Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker.
Did Catherine Bigelow, or was this Gail Ann Hurd, who did Strange Days with Ray
No,
Fiennes?
that's Catherine Bigelow.
That was Catherine Bigelow.
Yes.
Yeah, she was married to James Cameron. I
And so
believe.
was Gail Ann Hurd.
Oh, was she? Oh,
Yeah.
he gets around.
Well, Linda Hamilton.
Pompeii.
He's now on to his 5th wife with Susie Amos.
I know, who was in Titanic.
Correct, and that's
Right.
how they met.
Yeah, okay.
Before that, it was Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was Gail
I
Ann
didn't-
Hurd
okay, I didn't
and
realize that. Well, I love Strange Days.
Fourth
Ray
wife, not
Fiennes
five.
Ray,
1, 2, 3,
Ray
4
Fiennes,
wives.
I love that movie.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, it's a great movie. What's her name? Juliette
Lewis is in
is
it,
in
yes,
it. I love
yes.
that film. Go back and check out Strange
Yeah,
Days.
Strange
if you
Days.
can. But anyway, you liked this-
1995.
Did you like this film?
I did. I
You
really
did?
like Detroit.
Okay.
I
Liked
really
it a
recommend
lot.
it. Big yes for Detroit. Like I said, it feels a little long,
Yeah.
but I think it's an important film to watch, and it's also very riveting. That I'm telling you, that middle hour where these tensions are going on inside this hotel, and these 3 white cops are basically holding these group of black people hostage against a wall, and these two white girls who they think are prostitutes. It's extremely tense stuff.
Now, I
Anthony
gotta
Mackie
tell you
is
this,
also in the film.
I don't even, okay, well, I like Anthony a lot.
Yeah, he's
but,
good. He's very
I
good.
don't know if you know this, but the film is getting a lot of criticism on the basis that it embellishes a lot of the truth in this film. That it does not necessarily adhere to the truth. That it has taken a lot of things out of context and things are presented in a way that is just made for the dramatic effect, as many movies
But a lot of
are.
movies do that. And this movie
Artistic
states...
license is one thing, but you know,
Yeah.
when you're dealing with a racial film, I think we have to really expect that film to stay more to the factual.
I know what you're saying.
I would
Well,
prefer
they address that at the end of the film,
Yeah.
kind of.
Oh, do they?
Well, they say... What they do is what I always love, you and I discuss. They show you pictures of the real people and
I
what
love that.
happened and where are they now,
Yeah,
kind of a thing,
true.
which is great.
No, I like that.
Because when I went into this movie, not only did I not know much about the storyline, but I didn't know for sure if everything in this film was based on a true story of these particular people,
Right.
or was it a backdrop of the riots with a fictional story woven, like kind of like what Titanic did.
Right.
I wasn't sure if that's the case. So this film, it's a true story. These characters were real people.
Okay.
And what it says is that we have pieced together the storyline of this film and what happened, the events, based on testimony and interviews with the real people.
Okay.
They've pieced together dialogue and events the best that they could.
Okay.
And I'm sure there are dramatic licenses wove throughout. So take that, in any way that you want it. So
Yeah. Any way you want it.
anyway,
you can
I still
have
thought
it.
as a film,
You liked it.
speaking of it as
All
a
right.
film, very effective, and I really
So all we
liked
can
it.
judge is the
Yeah,
film we
I
see,
liked it,
not
exactly.
necessarily the film that should have been or we might have wanted to see. As
And I'll say the portrayal of the white cops, it's not kind.
no, well,
Not
I,
kind.
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything else.
No, I know, but nothing
certainly
is sugar-coated.
in the year that we live now. That
Yeah. But I must say, one of the main female characters, two of the white girls that the cops think are prostitutes,
Mm-hmm.
one of them is played by, her name is Hannah. I have it here. Hannah Murray. She is in Game of Thrones. She is the girl, the wildling that's with Sam at the Citadel.
Oh, okay.
With the baby, that's her.
I gotcha.
She's very good in this film.
No, she's a very good
Yeah.
actress. I agree.
Anyway, so why don't we move on to The Dark Tower?
All right. Geez, I just had something to say, and now it just flew right out.
Well,
of
if it
my
comes
head,
back,
so
bring
not
it up.
necessary. Okay, very good. Let's
So,
do the Dark
Tower,
Dark
based
Tower,
on Stephen King's series
King's
of
novel,
books.
The Gunslinger, etc.
With the first one.
Right.
Idris Elba, Matthew McConaughey.
You know, the first thing I thought about after seeing this film, it's a very short movie. It's an hour and a half.
It was so short.
Yeah, it really was. And I got to say something about this. Now, we just saw Logan recently, a
We did.
wonderful Marvel film, Hugh Jackman's last outing
Yes.
as Wolverine.
Yes.
And what a grand epic scale of a film that
I agree.
is. Nowadays, we get these films that are slices of almost like a brief decapitation of what we should be seeing.
Yeah.
We're just seeing a very small, almost, it just felt like it wasn't even I don't even want to go into a mini series. It just felt like a section of a mini series that might have possibly
I'll be honest
been.
with you, it's exactly the feeling that I came away with from this film.
Exactly. And you can't help but coming away with that because it feels so incomplete.
It does.
And
It
yet,
felt very, very rushed to me.
and I have to say this also. The fact that I know that this is a Stephen King series
books.
that he wrote, a series of books, that also has a tendency to put a damper on your brain when you're watching this. You're saying, well, gee, I know this is a big elongated thing, but the film itself, let's judge the movie we saw.
I know.
For the hour and a half, I thought Idris Elba was great. I
thought McConaughey was great as the Man in Black.
I thought he
was
was a
pretty
little
good.
miscast. And
Really? I thought he was pretty good.
I didn't like him. I kept waiting for that Lincoln to pull up with him.
Oh, silly.
I love me a
That's
Lincoln.
No, I thought he was effective as... Basically, he's playing... the Man in Black is a character that
No,
runs
I know
throughout
the Man in Black.
Well,
I'm
you know,
very
he's
familiar.
he was also referenced as Randall Flagg in The Stand. Same
Okay.
character, basically.
And you know what else they did? He did reference, of course, the boy has the shine.
Well, yes, they
you
referenced
know,
that.
one again, The Shining.
Did you
is
catch the
just-
reference to 1408, which is another Stephen King novel?
I love the movie
Yeah,
with
that's
Sam
referenced
Jackson
in
and
this
John
as well.
Cusack.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because there was a reference to the portal number that they went through, and it said 1408.
Oh, okay. I didn't even notice
Yeah.
that, but that's interesting.
And did you notice at the end they go into a building that says King's Delicatessen or something like that?
Okay.
So that's a reference to Stephen King, obviously.
Oh, okay.
It's
There
kind of
you
fun.
go. All right.
It's called an Easter egg.
I guess as a reference movie, it's got a lot of cool little shit in it. But as a movie to sit and watch, I was disappointed in this.
I'm
film.
giving it a no.
Yeah, I got to give it a no. Also,
I gotta say
I like
no.
Idris Elba. I thought he was good. I thought the kid who was in the movie,
He did a good job. I
thought he
guess.
was. Everybody
Jackie
was
O'Haley's
good.
in the film.
I like him. He wasn't utilized enough.
No, he wasn't.
Because he's such a demento.
I know.
I loved him in Little Children. Oh my God,
what a character!
that guy is just outrageous.
Horrifying.
And then he went on and did the Freddy Krueger role in the new
I
Nightmare
never
on Elm
saw
Street.
that
Well,
version.
he's great
I saw
in that.
clips of him.
He's a little too fair. He's a
Yeah.
little too slight.
And he was
too
great on
thin.
Watchmen as Rorschach.
I love him.
Yeah.
I just think he's an actor to behold.
good.
But yeah, I'll tell you, it's like watching Ned Beatty in Deliverance. Once you see
Little
him
Children, I know.
in Little Children,
Disturbing.
he's so demented.
He
You
is.
know, he asks a girl out on a date. He's sitting there masturbating while
We've covered this on the show
I know,
before, but
you
it's
know,
so chilling.
She's ready to go in, and
Yeah.
well, I had a nice time with you. And she looks over at him, and he's choking the chicken over there. So you can put chicken sounds in on post production.
I'll
for
do
those
that.
chicken noises.
Yeah.
But hey, I gotta say, this movie was
No,
it
I'll
was
be
a waste of
honest.
time. Don't even bother. It has a couple. I mean, there wasn't even any great visual, anything
Not
to
really.
really get excited
There was
about.
I thought the best sequence was when Idris was having that shootout in, I guess it was a warehouse with those guys.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a cool scene.
That was a cool scene, and also he has a shootout outside. That was cool.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
You know what I really did love, though? I did love. You take away little tiny things
Yeah.
from these movies. I love the way he loaded his revolver.
I know, with his mind, like
yeah,
telepathically
he had this
almost.
little.
yeah.
No, it wasn't like telepathically.
I felt like
he
it was
had
like-
these. No. He had the spindle with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
six
yeah,
bullets
yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
and he just had this way of putting it into the. He would just put it in the gun and like doop, 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 like he had done it. He was such a pro.
I know.
He had done it so many
I
thousands.
just kind of felt
times.
like there was some kind of like energy with it, you know? It
Well,
looked like
there was
it
the
slow.
energy behind his
Yeah.
character that was a bit magical, I suppose.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was
just
thinking,
love
yeah.
the way he loaded those
Yeah,
bullets. And
that
then,
was
of
cool.
course, he has the, he's wearing this belt.
He has an awesome
And
outfit.
Yeah, true. I mean, visually, the art direction, it's so often we
decent.
see a film and the art
The
direction.
tower looked great.
Art direction is just out of this world,
Yeah.
but the movie can never live up
I know.
to it, so I got to give it a big,
Yeah, and I'll
there
just
you go.
add a couple thoughts that I agree with you that I got to say no. I'm having, like I mentioned to you in the past, I've tried on several occasions to finish the first book, and I couldn't
Oh.
get through it.
Okay.
And that's beside the point.
I never read it either.
But
I did try, but
This
I
movie,
also gave up on it.
I feel, didn't really even capture the essence of what I remember from what I did read of
Oh,
the
really?
book.
Okay.
But I thought the actors did the best that they could with what they were given.
Yeah.
I just felt
I
that
don't think the story is all
no,
that
I
great.
just felt that this was a wasted effort.
Yeah.
That really can't be translated to a single film. This has
Well,
to be.
maybe there will be.
Well, I know that they want to do a TV show.
Oh, do they?
Fleshed out.
Yeah, you
And I
mentioned
think that is the medium for this story, because of the vastness of the world he's created with his Dark Tower books. I really feel it really lends itself much
Yeah.
better to long form television.
Yeah, I was just thinking of Close Encounters.
You know?
The third time time we saw that big tower there. You
Yeah.
remember? But
Anyway,
okay.
I did
Let's
think that
move
there
on.
were a couple funny moments when the kid gives him a Coke. He goes, "What's this?" That was funny.
Oh,
and when
sugar.
he gives him the hot dog,
He
he
says
goes,
sugar.
He goes, "What is this?" It's a hot dog. He goes, "Savages." He goes, "What breed?"
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
That was funny. It
And he
had
said,
its
"Oh,
moments.
there were some
Yeah.
funny moments."
The old E.T. fish out of water
but
stick.
other than that, honestly, it's
Forget
a
about it.
sad no.
Waste of time.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Next film.
I'm
is-
gonna-
Chris is going to go with Mr. Gore's
Al Gore.
Inconvenient sequel.
It's called An Inconvenient Sequel, Truth to Power. The sequel to his documentary,
Inconvenient Truth about global warming,
from
etc.
2006.
Yeah.
Briefly, I'm not going to
It's a
spend a lot of
documentary.
time on this. It's a documentary.
Obvious.
It picks up and tells us what's been going on since the first film came out. I'm going to give this film a yes because I think it's an important film to see.
Okay.
If you're a documentary fan, I think you'll like it. If you're concerned about climate change, which I think anybody should be,
Right.
it's worth seeing. You don't necessarily need to run out to see it in the theater. You don't.
Yeah, no.
But
I wouldn't.
it's definitely something you should see
It'll be
at
on,
some
it'll be on
point.
PBS in
Yeah, no,
3 or
it's
4
and
months
it's
anyway.
definitely worth seeing at home.
Yeah.
I think the first film was a little bit more powerful because we hadn't
Yeah,
seen something like
sure.
that before.
No, it was one of the first
agree.
references to global warming.
And this film covers a lot of ground we've seen before and
Mm-hmm.
has been covered a lot through whether it's John Oliver, whether it's on Bill Maher. Vice and HBO spends a lot of time covering climate change. Rolling Stone spends a lot of time on it. So
They do.
we're very familiar now.
And since Donald Trump is so anti-climate change,
It's even more
even more
important.
important. Of course, he bowed
Yeah.
out of the Paris.
And this film
Treaty,
covers
etc.
that. It covers everything that's been going on with the election, everything that has happened in terms of progress, how we got to the climate agreement
Yeah.
in Paris, and then what happened post-Trump. Which doesn't happen until the end of the film, the last 10 minutes.
okay.
So the film leads up to the Paris signing in most of the film. That's the backdrop. Is most of it is the time period leading up to that.
Okay.
And how Al Gore was instrumental in actually helping to get India to sign that, which I thought was very interesting. Yeah.
All right.
And it covers a lot of his speaking engagements that he does. So
All right.
for a documentary, I say check it out. It's a yes, but like I said, you don't necessarily have to run out to see it at home in the theater.
Yeah.
You can wait till it's at home. But I enjoyed it regardless.
Instead of watching the film, just stick your head outside, and you know
live
you
it.
can feel the warmth
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
our winters are getting a little warmer and warmer and warmer.
Yeah.
That could.
Although
that
they're-
doesn't
they're
necessarily
saying-
have to be global warming.
Well,
but,
they're actually forecasting a rough winter for us in the Northeast this
Oh,
year.
are they? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, that's no fun.
But
I will
anyway-
say one last thing I will say about this film, and I have not seen it, but he was recently on. He was doing the talk show circuit.
Yeah,
because
I
he
saw him
was
on Bill Maher.
promoting this film. He was on Bill. He was
Yeah.
on Stephen Colbert not long ago, or Steve Colbert.
Yeah.
Some people call. But and he was talking about it. So Steve said, "Well, what's the prognosis?" And he was like, "Well, everything's getting good. Everything's getting better." I mean, he just was so optimistic about it.
He is, yeah.
So I kind of felt like, well, hell, why go see the movie? I mean, you know, you're expecting the voice of doom, and yet at the same time, he's very optimistic about global warming. That
Well,
we will conquer this. We will.
Well-
Not that we can defeat
No,
this.
but
we're just small little
it's-
pollywogs in a big giant
Exactly.
pond.
It's going to happen regardless,
yet,
but we can slow it down. And the reason he's excited is because of the advent of all the solar and wind power that's really growing.
Uh-huh.
That's the basis for his optimism, is that
Okay.
you can't stop
It's
that
not
growth.
the UV rays and the solar, the sun breaking through. And
Well, that's still happening.
well, of course, down in
but
Australia.
we're
yeah.
by reducing emissions via renewable energy, we're helping a little bit get us to where we could be.
Gotcha.
So
okay, well,
anyway,
let's
so we're going to move on.
Our next film.
A Criterion
This
box
is
set.
A Criterion box set. This is called Lone Wolf and Cub. This is a Shogun assassin
see
type
this.
thing. It is about a man. His name is Orgamo. I'm sorry. His name is Ito Origami, and Ito is. It's just wonderful. I cannot. There is such joy, such warmth, such laughter with this movies. I watched all 6 of them.
Are they all feature-length films?
They're all feature length. They're all an hour and a half long.
Okay.
But the beauty of this set is, I mean, right from the start, you will be captivated.
see what's good.
Only because Ito Origami, his wife is murdered by these bad guys, the bad guys of this clan, who come. He is one particular clan's assassin. So they come after him and they murder his wife. Now, for the rest of the series, he's basically on a rampage.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty of this movie that will captivate anyone, certainly there's many of you out there who are not going to be captivated, but at a Monty Python level, okay, we all remember And the Holy Grail. And there was, when somebody would get stabbed, a fountain of blood would come flying off. We've got heads flying, bodies cut in half. There's almost a comedy essence.
I'm
to
sure
the
Quentin Tarantino
brilliance.
loves these movies.
Oh, absolutely, no question.
There wouldn't have been a
He
Kill Bill.
raves
yeah.
about them.
Okay, so these are from the 70s, I see.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And they're
Are these
just-
color films, right? They're color.
Absolutely,
Okay.
color, beautiful. They're wonderful. The story, it's just like watching one giant
Great.
film.
That's cool.
It's like a mini series. It's a box set.
It's
and
based on
it's
a manga
hand-
series, I see
correct.
here.
And he's got manga, which is basically a comic strip.
Exactly.
And he's got his child. He carries his young boy with him, hence the Lone Wolf and Cub.
Got it.
He's always got his son with him.
That's cool.
And I'll tell you, his son plays a very, there's guys coming at him from left and right. This man is amazing. He'll take out 50 guys, no problem, with just one sword. Now, his little boy is sitting in a cart.
Yeah.
right? And sometimes the bad guys will come towards the cart, and then the little boy, you know, he looks so innocent and fine, he goes, "Dit," and these blades shoot out on the sides, and these guys come mowing, and suddenly they're all the legs are flying. You know, the bodies look so fake, it's almost like you can see the paper mache, you know, when these bodies are cut in half, the heads are flying off. Sometimes you know, there's a bad woman or whatever, and she's a ninja warrior, etc. She's an assassin herself, or a samurai. And, you know, people get stabbed in the head, and these huge blasts of blood just go flying. It's hilarious. It's
cool.
fun. It's warm. There's great sentiment here between Lone Wolf, this man played by Takamura's long Japanese name at the end. But there's just a brilliance here. And as I say, great warmth. There's touching scenes with him and his son, and just there's a lot of it's a real life scenario, Japanese style. I loved every minute of it. I truly did.
Sounds great.
I was so I just couldn't wait. I wish there was 6 more that I could just sit there and watch, because it was just wonderful. I'm going to give that a big. So once again, we have Lone Wolf and Cub on Criterion.
Now, is this just released on Criterion, or has it been
This
out a while?
came out probably about maybe a year ago. I think 2015 it actually was released, so 2 years ago.
Great.
And but it's a 6 film set. We also have the final film is also in here that Takamura made. And it's called The Shogun Assassin, but that's just a compilation. That was just for release in the United States alone, where they compiled 2 of the films together.
Oh, okay.
And they just made it, and it's kind of narrated by the little boy who's now grown up, talking about his dad and stuff. But I mean, these are really great battle scene films, and beautifully made. And there's this little son and this little cart. Every once in a while, there'll be like 50 guys coming at him. The little kid pulls up the top, and he goes, "Dagoro." Dagoro's the boy, and he goes, "Dagoro," and Dagoro pulls up the thing, and then their little Dagoro, this little tiny kid, is sitting there, and he's got like 12 machine gun barrels.
Oh, wow.
And so he's just blowing these guys up, and blood is flying. I loved it. It was just a
Did
goof.
you watch
kick.
the American edit as well?
I did not. I started to watch Shogun Assassin, and I was so
because I'm curious if that. Obviously, it's probably not going to be as effective as the other films, but I'm curious to somebody who
I should go back.
Might have just seen that. Do they
Edited.
get the same?
Nah, no, not at all.
Not at all.
No, it's like watching Breaking Bad, the movie.
I know.
A 2.5
you're right. I know what
hour,
you're saying. Yeah.
You know, composition of
highlight reel, basically,
of 50 shows that that should never have been condensed. So you don't really want to see Shogun. You want to watch all 6 of these movies.
Okay.
I love them dearly. We're going to move on now.
We're going to do a couple classics now. We're going to do Sunset Boulevard.
There we go. 1950.
1950.
Gloria Swanson.
William Holden.
Yes, sir.
And Eric, what was his name?
I'll be happy to lead the way. If you'd like to, you may.
I didn't write down his name. What was the name of the German guy? Eric what? You remember his name?
Eric Stroheim.
Eric
Stroheim was
who
in
died
the Blue
only
Angel.
a few years later.
One thing I did want to mention about Lone Gun Assassin. Lone Wolf and Cub. Ito Origami. Are you Ito Origami? Everywhere he goes, there's, are you Ito Origami? Yes, I am Ito Origami. Oh, we must kill you then. Every 20 guys come out of the woodwork. Ito, the guy who played him, Takamura, blah, 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 he died at the age of like 61, 62, and died of a heart attack. And I'll tell you, watch this movie. This man has such incredible speed. Here I am going on way too long about this. My favorite part of watching him, not only would he behead 20 different people all around him at once. It's like he had eyes in the back of his head, like all these films are. But the best part was the way he would go like this, and then he would just slowly put the sword back into it. It was so cool. I loved it. That's right, I did. Okay, we're moving on to Sunset Boulevard. Here we go. A classic written by Billy Wilder. Okay, it stars Gloria Swanson. She's an old has-been from the silent era.
Who was basically left out of the business once the talkies came in.
Exactly, pretty much so. She's kind of
as Gloria Swanson almost was in real life.
Exactly so. She
which was
really
cool
very
casting.
Famous for it, but she did work all along. Yeah. If you look at her
IMDb
itinerary, you'll notice that she was constantly working, pretty much right up until her death. I believe it was 1983 or so. But,
I think it was.
But she, anyway, she's wonderful in this. She's almost spookily, there's a spooky quality about her. The way she just looked at the camera.
She's very theatrical.
She's always very dramatic, baby, and darling, and There's just a greatness. William Holden, brilliantly cast. I
He's
think.
great.
You know, William went on to win an Oscar 2 years later for Stalag 17, directed by
yeah.
Otto Preminger. That's a great performance. It's kind of a precursor to Hogan's Heroes
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. But I'll tell you, I love this movie. I just love the black and white. I love getting into the house that Gloria
The whole
Swanson
movie is
lives
very
in.
much in that house.
There's a whole film noir. There's almost a haunted house kind of
Yeah,
feel.
there is.
You know, there's like the candelabras and all the thousands.
It was
of
that creepy New Year's Eve
pictures.
party where it's
Oh,
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
two of them.
Oh boy, yeah, and she has him dress up, and she's in love with him.
She is. She's
She's
becomes
madly in
very
love
attached.
with William Holden, who pulls up at her house only because his car breaks down. He gets a
Yeah.
flat tire.
And he finds out
car
that-
breaks down and pulls up. Well, look who it is. It's whoever her character's name is, which escapes me.
It'll famous. I
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It'll
Let's just
come
say
to me.
Gloria Swanson. She plays this incredible old-time character,
It's gonna bug me.
etc. Me too. But this is a wonderful film. You can't
It
go
is.
wrong.
It's a
classic. It's a
If
classic.
there's ever a definition of a classic, it's
You know,
a classic.
Glenn Close is on Broadway playing this Laura Desmond. No,
Norma
Norma
Desmond.
There you
You
go.
are correct.
Got it. And she's on Broadway right now, finishing
In the
up
musical
her final,
version of this, yeah.
In the musical
Which I
version.
heard is excellent.
Also, music by Andrew Lloyd Webber
Yeah.
right there too, and Tim Rice.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I love this film.
It's
you know,
a lot of fun.
The beginning of the film is the death of our hero. You know, the first
We
thing
learn
you
on the
see,
first 5 minutes.
He's
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
He's shot. He's in the pool.
that's not
floating
a spoiler.
up. Spooky shot of
Yeah, I
him
know.
from underneath.
It's cool.
Floating in the water, face down, and we look up at his face, just kind of shaking.
It's
I-
great.
I loved it. It was great.
No, this is a beautiful film.
beautifully
It's,
made, stunning.
It's just great. It's
Billy
and for
Wilder
anybody that loves
and-
movies about Hollywood, you'll love it even
Peak of
more.
his power.
Cecil B. DeMille plays himself.
Plays Cecil B. DeMille.
It's
Hedda
great.
Hopper plays herself.
It's wonderful.
It really is. Eric von Stroheim, who was a
It
great
is
German
a
actor, was in
wonderful
All
film.
Quiet on the Western Front. He was also in Blue Angel with Marlene
Yeah.
Dietrich back in the old days, and he's wonderful. He plays her manservant, ex-husband.
Well, that's
who
kind of a
is
spoiler you just
truly
gave.
well, it's not necessary. I don't think it's a big thing
No,
to
but it's a good
point out,
reveal.
but he just takes care of her
Yeah,
to the
it's-
very essence of his being.
Yeah, it's a wonderful,
And,
wonderful
This
movie.
is Fatal Attraction, really,
Kind of, yeah.
in a very early pre
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
pre Glenn Close once again a character. It just occurs to me.
Yeah.
she's playing the same character
Exactly.
she more or less played in she's playing in Sunset Boulevard
is.
now on Broadway.
Yeah.
So very bizarre little.
It's
little,
very
linking
good film.
of the thought.
I really
patterns there.
enjoyed watching this.
Absolutely, it was a beautifully made film. It's a solid 2 hours, and damn, I loved every minute.
It's
about
great.
an hour and 56 minutes.
It's close to. Yeah.
I loved it. I loved
And
it. Let's move on.
Real quick, I'm going to do Hitchcock's 1943 Shadow of a Doubt.
Joseph Cotton.
Joseph Cotton, who's wonderful in this. Who,
is.
although I feel like Teresa Wright stole the
She
movie.
really is wonderful. She
She's
only passed away
astounding.
within the past year. She
Yeah,
was about
yeah, she lived a long time.
99 or something.
Film also stars a very young Hume Cronin.
Yep.
I believe his first film, if I'm not mistaken.
Could
Very
well
early.
be. Oh, I don't think so.
I
bet he
loved
was in
how
films
him
before
and her
this.
and Teresa Wright's father would always like talk to each other about how to kill each other. Like they're so
Right.
obsessed with crime
Right.
novels. That was funny. But yeah, the premise, if you don't know, Shadow of a Doubt, it's basically Joseph Cotton is a guy who's suspected of a murder.
He's the uncle who comes to
He
town.
goes to California to see his family,
right.
and Teresa Wright is his niece. His sister is her mother, and he goes and stays with them, and is a very warm welcome. They love him. He's their wonderful uncle.
He's
They
a
don't get to
wonderful
see
guy.
that often.
He's sweet. He's kind, and yet
There's
there is
something
a dark
going
side.
on that
There's a
Teresa
dark
Wright
side.
starts to suddenly suspect. And there are two guys who are posing as census takers who are investigating and trying to find the killer.
I look
They don't
better
know
with
what
the
he looks
glasses on.
like.
Yeah, it's true.
And so they start giving her some information. And she starts to suspect that maybe this is who they're looking for.
Exactly.
It's a very effective, very
It's a
interesting
Hitchcock film. Not one of his
Yeah.
best. But
No,
it's
not.
Many of
I
his-
didn't find it to be that
It's
suspenseful.
one of Hitchcock's personal favorites. I love the
But
film.
it's very well done. It's a classic.
Let me say this
Definitely.
though. One great moment in this film that is probably one of the finest shots in film history
Mm-hmm.
for me. We have a dinner party going on. We have Teresa Wright. We have the whole family sitting around
I
the
remember
table.
the scene well, yeah.
We have a camera now on the profile of Joseph Cotton.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. On this particular profile, now the camera is going to revolve around him
table.
and go to the other side.
Yeah.
So Joseph Cotton is doing a dialogue that is very very wonderful. It's very
Yeah.
positive, and it's well, you know, and I did this and I did that, and she's wonderful and he's wonderful. But as the camera slowly
changes,
goes
the
around,
tone of his
and
dialogue
as the
changes.
camera is now facing him directly in the center, suddenly we have that gradual change in tone,
Yeah.
where suddenly she's just miserable.
Well, that's where he
Suddenly-
starts talking about
Yeah.
women that marry rich guys, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
and he goes from positive side. It's just a brilliant
It's
piece of
very-
filmmaking by Alfred
very well done, yeah.
Hitchcock. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. I mean,
great.
I've never seen that done since. If I make a movie one of these days, I'm going to steal that because I love it. I just love that camera revolving
It's great. It's
around,
great.
and suddenly we have the two sides. We almost have the three sides. We have that, you know, the really dark side, that Norman Bates, you know, bright, hi, can I help you? And then suddenly we get down to that, yes, my mother there, an institution. I mean, it's the same with Joseph Cotton.
Yeah.
That complete change in character within one 2-minute sequence. It's brilliant.
There's no, you can't deny. He's
love
a
it.
brilliant filmmaker.
He is indeed.
I thought
No,
that
he's
I really thought
amazing.
that Cotton and Wright really just kept this movie, kept my interest in this film.
Yeah, she's a librarian.
Yeah,
she's very
excellent.
sweet, and she is
She's
very excellent.
and he's very good
She's
in this
very
too.
smart. I mean,
Yeah, she's very
Hitchcock, He makes smart movies
No, he
for
does- he
smart
did a great
people.
job.
I love his attention to detail. He always focuses on, you know, the keys falling out of the pocket, or something here or there, or the keys going into the ignition, or, you know, whatever he can to just embellish
Yeah,
you
it's-
know,
it's
the
a-
little things that we notice as humans when we live this life.
It's
And
a
he
very good
pays
film.
it
It's not my
very
favorite
close
of his, but
attention.
it's definitely a good film.
No,
I enjoyed
really.
it.
Next time, I hope we can do Strangers on a Train.
Yeah, I'd like
which
to watch
is
that.
really one of the
Yeah.
best films he ever made. Our next film now is
Well, the last one of the night, you're going to do
all
Ride
right,
the
I'm going
Pink
to do a
Horse.
film called Ride the Pink Horse.
Yeah.
This is a 1947 film with Robert Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you something. I didn't really expect this. This is a Criterion film, and when
Yeah.
I say the word Criterion, as I mentioned, with Lone Wolf and Cub, Lone Wolf and Cub.
It's an
That is
extra-
not sweet and sour broccoli. That Chinese. This Japanese. So you want to talk about Maguro Tuno, please? Sushi.
Criterion
But,
always gives
Criterion
you...
takes the
It adds a level of pedigree to a film. It gives it a stamp of approval.
It's like
it's an-
I don't want to even say Cadillac. Cadillac is
No.
kind of almost you know, it's something when people live in a trailer,
Yeah.
they buy a Cadillac.
It
No,
tells you
it's
there's something
almost-
extra special about this film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have what it is. It comes down to the restoration.
Yeah, that
that's
too.
what Criterion's all about. They take great films that they really are passionate about. Martin Scorsese has a whole series of Criterion box sets that he's made. And but anyway, let's get to Ride the Pink Horse. It is a Criterion film. It's a film that they endorse, that they love. It's directed by its star, Robert Montgomery. It stars this brilliant little girl, and her name was you gave it to me.
On the bottom here, it's Wanda Hendricks.
Wanda Hendricks. Oh my God! This film. This is about a guy who comes to a small Mexican town, and he has a grudge in his pocket. And he kind of is looking for a specific individual. He wants to bear damage to this. He wants revenge for something that this very wealthy man did to a friend of his in a deal gone bad. But basically, it's once again that little fish out of water scenario where Robert Montgomery comes to this town. I like Robert Montgomery very much in this film because he's a wise ass. He's not a nice guy. Every time somebody says he has a really horrible attitude about everything. And yet he's brought to his knees by this very small Mexican girl who at the very beginning of the film has a vision. And she's very, very young. She's a lovely girl. She's just beautiful. I don't know how old she was in this film. I can see she's in her 20s. She's playing more like a 15, 16-year-old girl. She plays the part beautifully. You really believe she was very, very young and not very bright. And yet she kind of falls for him because she has a vision that she sees him dead. I see him dead. I see him dead on the ground, dead. So we have a cop, an older cop who's kind of interfering. He's come down to follow Robert Montgomery's character to interfere with this rich guy who did Robert wrong through this other friend, etc. So, but in the meantime, we just have life in Mexico. Suddenly thugs are after him. It's just a little film noir, beautifully black and white. I almost felt, I kid you not, I was so enamored watching this film. I was just so, I mean, every once in a while I see a movie that just, I can't turn it off.
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't happen that often with some of the older films. I mean, as much as I love Sunset Boulevard,
Yeah.
I turned it off. And I watched it in a
Couple viewings,
couple segments,
Yeah.
if you will. I watched half of it now. Oh, I'll come back later and watch the end. But this film, it was an hour and 40 minutes long. I watched the whole thing beginning to end.
great.
And I started it at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm a movie guy. I love my movies. And when I get something that just gets into it injects itself into my blood so badly that I can't go to bed without knowing what's, I turned off the light. No,
Yeah.
I got to see more.
Yeah,
I got to know
see
what's
how it
going
finishes,
on.
yeah.
I got to watch the end of it just to put that to bed.
I know
and
the feeling.
Put my brain to bed so it has that satiated feeling of, yes, that movie is mine now. It's in my
I know what
gut.
you're saying.
And you want that. I want that. And
Yeah.
when a movie can do that to me and make me want it so bad, and that's just what Ride the Pink
love
Horse
that.
did. I loved it.
I think we've all stayed up late
I
to
loved it.
finish
I
the
loved
film.
it. I loved it.
I love that feeling.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think
That's
we're
our
done.
show for this evening. We will see you
we-
next week.
Yeah, we will. We'll have some more new films for you. This week we got The Hitman's Bodyguard
We have
coming
that,
out.
and then we also have. I just discussed it with you. What was the other film that's coming out? Oh, well, Patty Cakes. I think is coming
Patty
out.
Cakes is
I
coming
don't know if I'm
That's
going to get
in-
to see
I
that.
think Patty Cakes is in
Limited release,
limited
yeah.
release.
And then, Logan Lucky, right? Is that what it's called?
It's
Logan
a
Lucky?
Steven Soderbergh film
Yeah, his
with
new
Daniel
film.
Craig
They had a
and
huge cast.
Channing Tatum.
It looks like a blast.
Looks good. It looks
Yeah.
like a fun film. And
Logan Lucky, Channing
Logan
Tatum, Adam
Lucky.
Driver.
The
It
reviews
looks great.
have been very kind
Looks
for
a lot of
free
fun.
reviews and so forth. So it does
Yeah.
look like a lot of fun. We can do a quick recap. I know Chris doesn't like the recaps, but
Yeah, I don't want to do it
because
this
it
week.
does a lot of. Well, let's just do it quickly. You don't need to. We'll just do it orally. You don't need to put all the films back up and the thumbs up and down and all that jive.
Maybe this week I won't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, don't
All right.
do
So
it.
Kidnap, 2 big yeses, right?
Loved Kidnap. Okay. Then we had How to Be a Latin
you
Lover.
changed it, so it's
I
2.
did change it.
2 yeses to How to Be a Latin Lover.
Has a likability factor.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a yes.
Okay.
Our next film
Annabelle
was
Creation?
Annabelle Creation. I'm going to give it a yes. Perseverance. Do I want to see it in a year from now? Maybe a year from now I will again.
Okay.
It was kind of cool. A little. I liked it.
All right.
Okay.
I'm giving you
Enough.
a yes to Detroit. I think it's an
Gotcha.
important film to see. A little long.
Big thumbs down for Dark Tower.
Two no's for
that
Dark
tower,
Tower.
is now inverted
No,
upside
I
down.
can't recommend it.
Forget about
No.
it.
A yes to Inconvenient sequel.
Okay.
It's worth checking out. It's a good documentary.
What about Ron Wolf and Cub? I loved it.
You loved
Can't get enough of this series. I just loved it. Just this guy plodding along through endless, walking the earth, as David Carradine did in Fung Ku, or Kung Fu, as it's actually known. And thank
then-
God that little Takamura here, or Lone Wolf, Ito Origami, does not hang himself for sexual gratification
Thank God.
in a hotel somewhere in Shanghai.
Good job.
So very
2
good
yeses
job
for
you.
Sunset Boulevard.
Love
We
Lone
loved
Wolf
it.
and Cub. Yeah, love Sunset Boulevard. Classic. If you haven't seen it,
You really
should be
need to watch
ashamed
it.
of yourself.
Yeah, you really did see it. 2 yeses for Shadow of a Doubt.
Yeah.
Good Hitchcock film. Not his best,
Great.
but still good.
Beautifully made. Just that, this is in
Yeah.
the growth of Alfred.
Exactly.
The growth
It
of
was
Alfred
early on.
Hitchcock is thoroughly on display here.
Yeah.
You've got other films, Sabotage and Lady Vanishes, 39 Steps, some other classics in the Hitch mode. But this is when he's really starting to come into his own.
Yeah.
Into the, I believe this was a 50s film. I could be wrong. This might be
No,
late
no,
40s.
I said it before. It's
Is it 40s?
1943.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Early.
Way early.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the 50s is when Hitchcock
Yeah,
just
really,
went all out, balls
he
to
did,
the
yeah.
wall, dynamite.
Yeah.
We've got, oh my God.
A lot of good stuff.
A lot of good stuff, though.
We've
but,
covered some of them on the
well,
show.
Psycho
already.
was 1960, of course, which is probably my favorite Hitch of all time. But I got to say.
My favorite is, and always will be, tie between, probably Rope, but then I like Rear Window a lot, too.
Rear Window is
Out of the
just-
ones I've seen,
I love
I
Rear
still have to
Window.
see a good amount of his films.
Rear
so.
Window is like 10 films in one because
I know,
as
it's
you're
so
looking
great.
out that back window
Yeah.
by Jeremy
Stewart.
Stewart, when he's sitting there, and Grace Kelly by his side, Thelma Ritter over there plays his housekeeper. God, I love that movie.
Perry
But
Mason,
every
Raymond
little, Raymond
Burr.
Burr, the bad guy, of course. Don't give anything away now. But you've got those 10 little apartments, and in every apartment, like watching an ant farm.
It is, yeah.
It's literally...
It's a brilliant idea for a
It's
film.
so wonderful.
So well done.
Nobody does it.
Yeah.
Nobody's bothered. Somebody could do it in a oh, look at my poor little girl hobbling along. She hurt her foot.
Poor thing.
Anyway.
And then
all right.
lastly, you loved Ride the Pink Horse.
I loved Ride the Pink Horse.
Big
Boy,
yes.
if you get a chance, it's I have the film here too. I could do a little show and tell, but it's a little late, so we're going to say goodbye. All right, everybody.
We'll see you,
170
as always, check us out on YouTube.
Check us out on
on
YouTube.
Facebook. Like our page, follow us.
Facebook.
And email us, filmbanter@gmail.com if you'd like.
us on Film Banter.
And we'll see you next week.
And we'll see you on Facebook.
Let's do a freeze frame.
No, we should do like Robert Redford and Paul Newman, right, jumping off
Oh,
the
yeah.
cliff. Ah! Or Thelma and Louise. You know, ah! We're driving off.
Ruff, ruff.